Okay, so back here with another solo tips video. This was a requested one for Could This Be Love by TOTO. Now, I don't think I've played this solo since I did the cover, which was back in August 2020. So this might be interesting to do because it's a really hard descending scale run at the end. But hopefully I can still help you guys and girls play it. And as well as offering tips and tricks on what I'm doing, I'll maybe think about any exercises that you could do to help you build the muscle memory, so that you're not just playing the solo over and over again, because sometimes that could be quite demotivating, you know. So I'll see if I can do that. So like my other solo tips videos, I'll be referencing my notation notes on Patreon, and I'll put a link in the description for that, or you can just try and follow along with the video here. So there's only 4 bars in this solo. Of course, we'll be focusing a lot on the last bar, but there's some cool stuff in the first 3, so let's just dive into it. Open up the solo, goes something like this at a moderate pace. 3. Okay, let's just stop there. Now these things, I don't know what to call them. They're essentially just like wide intervals we're doing at the start. So we're playing like the G and the high E, missing out the B string, and we're playing these what are they there? Like a minor 6, major 6, perfect 5th, and then minor 6 again. Now they're quite simple on their own, but up to speed, it's quite tricky with the fingerings because we're doing like 3 different shapes here. So the first shape, sliding in with my 2nd finger on the G string to the 3rd, hitting an upstroke for the 2nd of the high E, and I'm fretting that with my 1st finger. For that 2nd shape, I've still got my 2nd finger on the G string at the 6th fret. This time I use my 3rd finger for the 6th on the high E. This is where it gets a bit unconventional, because if you're playing this on its own, you wouldn't be playing it like that with your 1st and 2nd finger. You'd probably be playing it with your 1st and 3rd. But in the context of this solo, this is how we're going to keep it going in a nice, quick and smooth manner. So 1st finger on the 9th and 2nd finger on the 11th. Then the last shape's like the first shape. In fact, it's the same notes, just an octave up. So we're doing the same fingerings, but we're going to end it by sliding our 1st finger down to the 13th fret. That sets us up for the next lick. So it's something like... Okay. So we're going to stay with our 1st finger on this 13th fret. This is what I call like our home position now, so that our fingers then follow the frets kind of naturally. And we're going to be playing the 13th, 14th and 16th. And I'll of course use my 1st, 2nd and 4th finger. And then we're going to end on that 14th of the beat. I'm going to depress it with the whammy bar. And as we depress the whammy bar further, we're going to move our home position down 2 frets. For this little lick here. So that's everything up until the hard part of the solo, okay? So let me just play through that again and see if there's any other techniques I can offer. Something like this. Okay, so I noticed that when I was sliding up, when I get to that last one, that's when I go and grab the whammy bar, because I'm going to need it for that 14th fret of the B. So there's an example of like economy of motion and time. There's a little gap there where I'm not picking, and I can just grab that whammy bar and get it ready for that next little part. And then when we get to that little lick here, the 11, 12, I'm bending with my 2nd finger, which isn't too unusual. Just if you don't really want to bend up with your 1st finger. You can bend down the way, but not up the way. Your 2nd finger is fine for bending up. You want to at least bend up the way with your 2nd finger, so you have strength behind it to do the bend. But you might find that a lot of the time you'll be bending with your 3rd finger, so you might not have as much strength in your 2nd finger. But that's okay, you'll build that up. So we're doing like 2 bends, so bend, release, and bend again. Then as we release the bend, we're doing a little like this. It's quite a staccato lick. Let me put the distortion back on. So to really accentuate that distortion, I'm doing the upstroke, and I'm really digging in. Actually, I'm digging out of the string with the upstroke, but I'm really accentuating the staccato and that mute in between by doing the upstroke. Okay, that was a bit too exaggerated, but you catch my drift. Okay, and then we go into the really fast descending lick. Now let me just play it really slowed down, what it is I'm doing. And then I'll try and tell you a bunch of stuff regarding it. Okay, but really slowed down, this is the lick I'm doing, and this starts at the end of bar 3 into bar 4. So really slowed down, it's like this. Okay. Now, whenever you're playing something, and if you're looking at the notation, you just see there's a lot of notes there. You need to find your own patterns in these notes. And whenever I'm trying to decipher something like this, or I'm trying to learn it, transcribe it, I have to find a pattern in the playing. I need to find something where it's like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense that he's doing this or that. You can't just look at it as like a bunch of notes together. There's got to be patterns in there. And even if there isn't, I mean, I don't know if these are the exact notes Luke plays. Whenever I'm deciphering something that's really quick, I try and hit the benchmarks. I try and hit the ones that you hear. And if I know he's playing notes in between the ones I can definitely hear, then I logically try and fill in the blanks. And no doubt this is a solo where I did that. I mean, I don't know if Luke would play the solo the same twice as well. So for me, it's kind of easy to hear the patterns in there. So let me just play through again, and I'll point out where I believe there's different patterns. Okay, so let's go. So there we have a sense of we're going down the scale. It's like an F sharp minor scale. We're starting on D sharp. There's patterns there. We're going down 4, and then we're kind of going up, back up to the next note below in the scale. So we're starting on D sharp, then we move down to the C sharp, and we go down 4. So starting on the D, go down 4, starting on the C sharp, going down 4, and so on. So there's a pattern. And you find the start of bar 4 starts on the D sharp. Halfway through, we're going to start on D sharp again. So there's another pattern. So you basically think, well, we're doing the same thing twice, just an octave below. And we're not exactly doing the same thing twice, but you get my drift. I'm looking for the patterns there. That's what it sounds like we're doing. So yeah. You might be able to hear we're doing that same. We're doing the same thing there. Now we're fingering it slightly differently, but there's certain reasons I think for doing that. Okay. Now an exercise that can help you with playing something like this up to speed is, well, it's kind of to do exactly that. I used to do this quite a lot. You take any scale and you do that type of sequence. You use any scale. The idea is you're going down 4, then you're starting on the next note below and going down 4. Any scale at all. And what I used to find, because when I first started doing that, I used to easily lose my place, but what helped me keep my foundation was really accentuate that first note of the sequence, you know. You really play hard on that first note, and it helps you have that grounding. Hopefully that's a good tip to kind of help you get used to that. But seriously, if you take any scale and just do that sequence over and over and over, it really helps with these type of scale runs. Okay, so let's go back to the actual solo. Yeah, so we have a little break in the sequence. So we are doing the same thing twice, most of it. So we're starting on that D sharp and going down the scale. Then we're starting again. But then he thinks, well, I need to end it, so I'll just keep going down the scale. And for the start of like the pre-chorus, he's ending on the note he wants to end on. Okay. Trying to think of any other tips regarding that. Try and test the one. You need to start off very slow and build it up. Picking technique. I hold my pick very lightly when I'm playing that. But what might help you out if you do like you kind of angle the pick so that it's I need to turn around to do this. So angle the pick so it's like that when you're doing it. So downstrokes are going into the body and upstrokes are going out. I find that helps from the pick getting stuck in the strings. You know, if you're doing a lot of alternating picking and your pick is like perpendicular, it kind of gets stuck in between. Whereas if it's at an angle, you find that the upstrokes, you come away from the body, and it's easier to kind of to miss the strings and keep it nice and clean and fluid. Apart from that though, I don't think there's anything else. Let me just play through the whole solo at a moderate pace and let's see how it sounds. 3. Okay, I'm going to need to play that another few times if I want to get that back up to speed, but that's a general idea. Okay, so hopefully that's helped you out. If there's any questions regarding anything I've said which doesn't make sense, just let me know in the comments and I'll try and explain it a bit further. Okay, cheers.